And I think Josh McCown will be able to do something with Vincent Jackson and Mike Evans. And you can never count out Doug Martin. I know he's had some injury problems. But especially week one, I think the Bucks will run away with this game. Way more than a field goal. CB, any disagreement?
I agree. I think this is actually a game that the Bucks will probably surprise people and win. A lot of experts are starting to like the Buccaneers, and for a good reason. They're going to be much improved from last year. There's some organizational dysfunction with Greg Schiano running that team.
Well, now they have Lovie Smith.
I think with more of a viable quarterback, Doug Martin healthy, I think they'll have a really good season this year. I think this is just the start of it.
Yeah, I just really don't trust the Panthers with no weapons. If Cam Newton's got Jericho Cotchery is listed as their number one receiver. When you have Jericho Cotchery as your number one receiver, your team clearly has a problem. I like Kelvin Benjamin, but you can't expect him to do that much as a rookie, especially with no one else around him. I think if you kept Steve Smith, the load would have been less on Kelvin Benjamin. He could have done something. But I think there's going to be too much pressure, and he's not going to be able to produce this year. So swallow the points and take the Bucks. And finally, the Vikings get 3.5 points for the Rams in St. Louis. So I say the Vikings win this game. Not only take the points, Vikings will probably beat the Rams. I was surprised this line didn't change after Sam Bradford went down. I think the bottom line is I just don't trust Sean Hill. I think Matt Castle was fantastic in the preseason. The preseason isn't measured by wins because we know the Detroit Lions in 08 went 4-0, then went 0-16. But his individual performance, some of the throws that Matt Castle was making, he was fantastic. And I think, obviously, he's not going to be the best quarterback during the regular season, but I think he'll be a good quarterback. And that way, Teddy Bridgewater can be brought up the right way for the Vikings out of Louisville. And Teddy Bridgewater is the quarterback of the future, but Matt Castleback can be the veteran that kind of leads the way. And I really like him this year. And obviously, you can't disregard Adrian Peterson, Cordero Patterson. Greg Jennings is still there. Kyle Rudolph. And the Vikings defense isn't that bad either. Always loved Harrison Smith. They drafted Anthony Barr. They lost Jared Allen. But I think Chad Greenway is going to step up in a big way this season. And I think the Vikings win this game. So that is a very generous line to the Rams. But the Rams are not that good. I like their defense, but with Sean Hill as your quarterback, you're not going to be doing much. So, Vikings plus 3.5. CB?
Yeah, I also agree on this one. It's not that I trust Matt Castle. It's that I don't trust Sean Hill even more. You have a better running back with Adrian Peterson, and you have more weapons on the outside with Cordell Patterson and Kyle Rudolph as the tight end. The Vikings defense isn't quite as good as the Rams, but when you're not going to score any points, which the Rams are going to score very little of this year, it's going to be hard for them to win with their defense alone. I think the Vikings are definitely a viable option to win this game.
Yeah, definitely. So real quick, we did mention both myself and CB are picking the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. We're going to have a little debate with that next week with Snowball because he is picking the Broncos. Both teams are the favorites, co-favorites to win the Super Bowl at 6-1 odds. So we'll get into that a little next week. Just know that from this point on, we did call the Seahawks because they will win the Super Bowl. So we're going to get into a little college football. Just a little just to wrap it up. Missouri. We're just gonna focus on the top 25 in this segment. So Missouri 49-24 over Toledo. Again, not in favor of playing Toledo, but Mizzou's 2-1. 2-0. My bad. Clemson. They put up 73 points against South Carolina State. So 73-7. Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it right now because I get too heated.
We already talked about this, Nick.
What was that?
We already talked about this, Nick.
Yeah, I'm going to get really heated, so I'm not even gonna go into that zone. Number 20, Kansas State, 32-28 over Iowa State. Kansas State's 2-0 and 1-0 in the Big 12. Like we talked about earlier, Nebraska barely beating the McNeese State Cowboys. And actually, I want to make a quick public service announcement. That McNeese State is in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Big team to watch this year. Just kidding. They got lucky against Nebraska. But number 19, Nebraska, stays 2-0. But that's definitely going to hurt their resume. But they almost lost to McNeese State. Which, again, is in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Did not know that prior. Wisconsin, 37-3 over Western Illinois. They are number 18 currently, 1-1. And Stanford was embarrassed by USC. Real close game, 13-10 USC. But Stanford just really got outplayed. Very disappointing for the Cardinal. Who they were actually ranked 13, and USC was 14 going into this game. That is definitely a subject to change. USC's 2-0 and 1-0 in the Pac-12. Stanford is 1-1 and 0-1 in the Pac-12. Oklahoma smacked Tulsa today. Oklahoma's number 4 in the country. They won 52-7. Again, not getting into the cupcake debate in the NCAA. Alabama, 41-0 over Florida Atlantic University. It's in Florida. 2-0, 1-0 at home for the Crimson Tide. Louisville is currently in the third quarter, up 52-7 on Murray State. Clearly, Murray State's football team is not as good as their basketball team.
And Oregon just scored another touchdown to take a 39-27 lead over Michigan State.
Okay.
Starting to run away with this one a little bit towards the end of the game.
Yep.
14 left in the fourth.
All right. San Diego State is actually beating number 21 North Carolina 14-7 with about 5 minutes left in the second quarter. South Carolina's barely holding on against East Carolina, 20-16 in the third quarter. South Carolina is still ranked number 21, even though they're 0-1. We'll see how this game turns out. Arizona State up 32-21 over New Mexico, just at the start of the third quarter. Again, New Mexico is a respectable game. Murray State is not. Notre Dame, Michigan. I'm actually surprised by this game. It's 21-0 at halftime, Notre Dame. I thought Michigan would put up much more of a fight. I'm actually very disappointed in the Wolverines. Hopefully they can do something in the second half. Baylor is up 35-3 over, not Northwestern, but Northwestern State. Actually, I'm going to do some research on Northwestern State here. They're actually in Natchitoches, Louisiana. So apparently,
That's not very north.
Yeah.
Or west.
Yeah. Louisiana is not northwestern by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm assuming it's in northwestern Louisiana. Yeah, I'm not going to get into this. Texas, number 9, Texas A&M. I don't know what's going on with that. It was supposed to start at 7:30, but no score update yet. Against Lamar University. So we'll check on that a little bit later. Memphis UCLA is going to kick off at 10 o'clock. Number 11 UCLA 1-0. Memphis unranked 1-0. Shout out to Jake and Noah. They'll be at that game. And Virginia Tech is up by a touchdown on Ohio State in the second quarter. Ohio State's ranked 8th in the country. We'll see how that turns out. Maybe we have an upset on our hands. Auburn is up 28 on San Jose State, who they did pay $1.5 million to beat them by 4 touchdowns in the third quarter. Florida State is also up 31-0 on Citadel. Don't know where Citadel is. Not really interested in where it is. I'm sorry, Citadel alums. Ole Miss also smacked Vanderbilt 41-3. Ole Miss is now 2-0, 1-0 in the SEC. Vanderbilt's 0-2, 0-1 in the SEC. Ole Miss is actually a huge sleeper this year. Keep your eye on them to possibly contend for the SEC. And as CB said, Michigan State, Oregon. Oregon is up 39-27 in just about the start of the fourth quarter. Both teams are 1-0. Oregon's ranked number 3. Michigan State is ranked number 7. So we'll keep you posted on that game. And before we forget, we have also started a suicide pool for our show. CB, you are the expert on this, so I'm going to let you run through the rules.
Okay, basically, a suicide pool isn't as harsh as it sounds. It's basically an NFL game where you pick one team each week, and you can only pick that team once throughout the season. There's no point spread or anything. You just pick a team to win. On ESPN, this is called Eliminator Challenge. They're called different things elsewhere. Most commonly known as Suicide, though, or Survivor. But basically, you pick one team a week. You can't pick the same team to win at all throughout the season. And once a team you pick to win loses, you're out, and that's your season. ESPN happens to run a week 10 through 17 game again because so many people can be out so early and the season's over. And by week 10, most people are out anyway, so we're in a second half one. But we decided that we would do ours for our show. And now, even though he's not here, we had Snowball submit his pick, and he chose the Eagles, who were playing the Jaguars this week, and I believe they're 10.5 points favorites, the largest spread, and I'm assuming that's why Snowball took them. And Nick, let's go to you for your pick.
Yeah, I was told I couldn't pick the Seahawks because apparently they already won. But I am taking the Kansas City Chiefs over the Tennessee Titans tomorrow, playing in Kansas City. Kansas City's favored by 3.5. I think that's very generous for the Titans. I think they're going to win that by more than that. But yeah, Chiefs. I'm not planning on picking them again, so yeah. CB, who are you picking?
I have the Chicago Bears. They're playing the Buffalo Bills this week. Bills are going to have DJ Manuel at quarterback, and he's still not a prolific quarterback. Excuse me. But I think the Bears' defense will be improved on last year, and it's going to be interesting to see if C.J. Spiller can rebound this year. But I don't think it's going to happen right away. I think the Bears are going to cruise easily this one. Bears' offense is going to be way too much, and I think they're going to be too much for a lot of teams this year. When you pair Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Marshall, and Santonio Holmes, who's going to be a sleeper as a number 3 receiver for that team, that's a killer wide receiver combo. And while Jay Cutler might not be the best quarterback in the NFL, it's going to look awful good this year throwing in those 3 guys. Not to mention Matt Forte out of the backfield catches passes very well. Has a very, very good running back, probably top 5 in the league when healthy, and he's going to be healthy week 1. That's why I'm picking the Bears. I think they have a huge advantage over the Bills this week.
You know what, CB? They sound like such a great team. It's really too bad you can't pick them for the rest of the season.
I'll be fine. Don't worry.
Are you just? I'm thinking Snowball is just gonna go by the Jaguars' schedule and pick the opposite team. I think
sounds like something he would do.
That's actually a very legitimate strategy. The
only
thing is,
I don't against the Cowboys.